If I opened your phone right now and looked at your saved folders on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, what would I find? You probably have hundreds of bookmarked videos, the perfect 30-day workout split, a tutorial on how to start a faceless YouTube channel, a guide on fixing your dopamine. You have hoarded a goldmine of life-changing information. But let me ask you a very uncomfortable question. How many of those saved videos have you actually taken action on? I'll guess the number is 0. You keep hitting save for later, but later never actually comes. You tell yourself that saving a video is a step toward your goals, but it's not. You know exactly what you need to do to change your life. You have all the information, so why aren't you doing it? You are caught in a psychological trap called action faking. Here is exactly why your brain is addicted to hoarding information instead of using it, and how to finally break the cycle. Let's start with a harsh truth about modern American self-improvement. We are the most educated, informed generation in human history, and yet we are the most paralyzed. Think about it. You've listened to 100 hours of Andrew Huberman podcasts. You know exactly what dopamine pathways are. You know about circadian rhythms, cold plunges, and macronutrients. You know the exact business models that make money online. You possess the knowledge of top-tier CEOs and Olympic athletes, but you probably haven't even drank a glass of water today. You are suffering from the knowledge illusion. Your brain has convinced you that consuming information is the same thing as taking action. When you watch a video on how to start a business, your brain feels productive. But you didn't start a business, you just watched a TV show about business. When you spend 3 hours color-coding a Notion template to organize your life, you feel incredibly accomplished. But your life isn't organized. You just played a video game called planning. Consuming information feels safe. It feels like progress, but it requires 0 actual risk. Author James Clear breaks this down perfectly. He says you have to understand the difference between motion and action. Motion is researching the best running shoes. Motion is mapping out a 5K route on your phone. Motion is making the perfect Spotify workout playlist. Action is actually stepping outside and running for 10 minutes. Motion will never, ever produce a result. But we get stuck in motion because motion protects our ego. You can't fail at researching running shoes. You can't get rejected while planning a business. You only face failure when you step into action. But why does your new era always crash and burn on day 3? To understand this, we have to look at the neurochemistry of your brain, specifically dopamine. We usually think of dopamine as a reward for doing something hard. But that's not entirely true. Dopamine is a motivation chemical. It spikes when you anticipate a reward. When you sit on your couch on Sunday night and map out your perfect life, your brain starts visualizing the end result. You picture yourself with the six-pack. You picture yourself quitting your 9-to-5 and handing your boss a resignation letter. You picture yourself successful. Because your imagination is so vivid, your brain releases a massive wave of dopamine right there on the couch. You get to feel the emotional reward of success without doing a single minute of hard work. You have effectively hijacked your own reward system. You just got paid before you did the job. So what happens on Wednesday morning when your alarm goes off at 5 a.m.? It's raining outside and you actually have to go to the gym. Your brain looks at the situation and says, wait a minute. This is cold. This is uncomfortable. This sucks. Why are we doing this? We already felt successful on Sunday night. Your dopamine crashes, the motivation evaporates, and you hit the snooze button. This is also exactly why you need to stop telling your friends and family about your goals. When you sit at a coffee shop and tell your friend, I'm going to start a YouTube channel this year, and they say, wow, that's so cool, you'd be great at that. Your brain just received the social validation of being a YouTuber. Your brain checks the box. Goal achieved. And your drive to actually sit in a room alone, edit a video for 8 hours, and get 0 views on your first upload completely disappears. You ate the dessert before you cooked the dinner. If we dig one layer deeper, past the dopamine and past the planning, we hit the real root of action faking. The ugly truth that keeps millions of Americans stuck in jobs they hate: perfectionism. We've been sold a massive lie by social media. We see people's aesthetic, perfect final results, and we think our beginning needs to look like their end. You aren't procrastinating because you're lazy. You are procrastinating because you are terrified of looking stupid. You are terrified of being cringe. If you launch your podcast and the audio sounds terrible, you have to face the reality that you are a beginner. If you go to the gym and you have to lift the 10-pound dumbbells while everyone else is lifting 50, your ego takes a massive hit. But as long as your podcast is just a concept in your notebook, it's perfect. As long as your fitness journey is just a saved workout routine on Instagram, it's flawless. You are using preparation as a shield to protect your ego from the pain of sucking at something new. But you cannot skip the beginner phase. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many podcasts you consume. You cannot read a book on how to ride a bicycle and then jump on a bike and ride it perfectly. You have to fall off. You have to scrape your knee. The longer you wait to start, the more pressure you put on yourself. If you plan a project for 2 years, your brain tells you the launch has to be a masterpiece. If you plan it for 2 hours, you give yourself permission for it to be messy. So, how do we fix it? How do we stop action faking, kill the perfectionism, and actually start moving? We implement a rule I call the ugly start. Starting today, you are officially banned from preparing. You're banned from buying new equipment. You're banned from downloading new productivity apps. You're banned from spending any money to start your goal. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you are not allowed to buy a $1,000 camera. You're forced to record your first 5 videos on your cracked iPhone in your bedroom with bad lighting. If you want to start working out, you are not allowed to buy a $200 gym outfit or a new tub of pre-workout. You have to put on the dirty sweatpants you already own, walk outside, and do push-ups in your living room. You have to force the execution to be ugly. When you intentionally make the start ugly, you completely remove the pressure of perfection. You strip away the aesthetic fake productivity, and you force your brain to confront the actual work. Second, you need to implement the 72-hour rule. Whenever you get a burst of motivation to do something, you have exactly 72 hours to take one physical, irreversible action toward that goal. Not a plan, an action. If you want to start a business, you have 72 hours to register the LLC or pitch your first client. If you want to run a marathon, you have 72 hours to pay the non-refundable registration fee. You have to lock yourself into the discomfort of action before your brain has time to talk you out of it. For the last few years, you have been sitting on the sidelines of your own life. You've been studying the playbook. You've been watching the highlight reels of other people playing the game. You know all the rules and you know all the strategies, but nobody ever won a game from the bench. It is time to stop reading the self-help books and start being the self that actually helps. It's time to stop color coding your to-do lists and start crossing things off. Your new era isn't going to start on a Sunday night when you feel incredibly motivated. Your new era starts on a random Tuesday when you feel tired, you feel unmotivated, but you do the work anyway. Embrace the cringe. Embrace being a beginner. Let it be ugly. Just start. If this video gave you the wake-up call you needed, hit the subscribe button. We don't do toxic hustle culture here. We just talk about the real psychology of getting unstuck. Now close this app, put your phone in another room, and go take an ugly action. I'll see you in the next one.